Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and welcome to this very special Ramadan programming on Salam Media today. And our focus, of course, is the plight of the Rohingya. Your host today, myself, Shabnam Mayet, from Protect the Rohingya. Of course, it is our organization, South African organization that was established in 2012, and we work around awareness. So today, we are very excited to be sharing the platform with all of you. And Ramadan Kareem to everyone. And we're going to start off today. We have a host of wonderful guests who are going to be speaking to us about the situation in Myanmar, in the camps, about the medical condition, about the Rohingya cases. So please do stay with us. We're available on Twitter and Facebook. And of course, we're going to, we started off with a Tarana, which is a very special Rohingya music, and it was speaking about Ramadan. I think we could all have figured that one out. And Taranas are basically poetry or music which contain Rohingya memory, a longing for justice and homeland, and other aspects of Rohingya culture. We're going to kick off this show with a message from Ro Mehruz from the camps. Of course, we always want to get voices from the camps to you, but it's difficult with the network situation. Ro Mehruz is a Rohingya writer and a poet, and his work is widely published. Let's listen to his short Ramadan message to all of us. Okay, so that was the voice of Khin, who is the executive director of the Rohingya Youth Association. And now we're going to move over to Suza, Uddin, who is the country director of Artolution in Bangladesh. Artolution is a community collaborative art making initiative, and it aims to be a tool for communities to share their stories with the world. And this one is run out of Cox's Bazar. Welcome to the show, Suza, Uddin.
Thanks for inviting me here.
So tell the listeners and I, what is it about art? Why is this an art project? This is the world's biggest refugee camp. Tell us why an art project.
Thank you very much. So we are, as you mentioned, so we are Artolution as a community-based art network. So we are basically New York-based INGO. So we have been working in camps since 2017. So when he first started the work, especially the co-founder of Artolution, Mr. Max, when he first seeded the plant inside the largest refugee camp. So he first asked the questions to the people, like how people are surviving and what about their culture, what about their cultural essence. So, and that time he have seen the different kind of artisans and also different kind of hidden talent which is happening, which is existing with the Rohingya community. If I mentions the one of our artist code, so we have an artist, his name is Boshirullah. He said basically music is a medicine for me. He was basically hospitalized for 17 days, and he is one of the Tarana player. If I quote one of our artists, his name is Muhammad Noor. If I mentions about him, he when he first draw, he say, "I feel I get back my homeland here." So art is a process, and art is a tools to healing out the trauma, healing out the process and which have been they have been facing. And the I mean, you know, the most of the people when they came, and most of the people are traumatized. If I precisely mentions about the Dildar story, who was not able to speak for 6 months because of a shock-based mutism. When she first time draw, and she speak in front of other women, she shared that, and she said, I felt that I'm only the woman who went through this trauma, but when I work with the community, when I provide the psychosocial support or training to the community women, I felt that I'm not only the woman. There is a thousands of women who are facing this kind of problem. So I feel, as we are community art network organization, we call transforming life, strongly feeling is not something like just drawing. It's what about what community has, and what community distinct, and what about their feeling. This is all about that. So we feel that in every human being, in every community, in every civilizations, and there's an art and culture, especially in this kind of context, like where people are facing a lot of problems, and
Mm-hmm.
every day they are traumatized, and
Mm-hmm.
rematizations I mean, de-traumatization is going on. So that kind of context, basically art work as a language, as a tools to express their inner self. So that's how basically we work in the BDBD camp. We work other regional hub around the world, but inside the camps and in largest refugee camp, we work 2017. So from that time, we believe that this is something which really people are exactly feeling. This is one of the tools, and they're using to express themselves. That's how we feel that in this context, our art is a strong tool, and art can really make the process
Mm-hmm.
easier, and they can share their very complex story through easiest process. That's how we feel
Okay.
that, and this is one of the important reason to work here.
Okay. So can you tell us a little bit more about the other projects, like your education project? I believe that there's a book of illustrations and your
uh,
COVID project.
I'm not hearing you properly. Can you please repeat? Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit more about your education and your COVID project?
uh, as I precisely sound is not clear. I don't know why. But can you write in the chat like the questions?
Sure. Okay. So can you tell us more about?
Can you check your sound, please?
Okay, there seems to be an issue with our sound. We're just checking that out. Uddin, can you hear me now? Okay, it seems that we have an issue with the connection. Maybe we can move on to listening to a message from Romehruz and about Ramadan, and we can try to get Sazaudin back on the line. Please hold on. We're going to go to more interviews in a moment.
Salam Media, your spiritual companion this Ramadan.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness. And every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold and Jewelers, where timeless become a reality. Come to us. Tailor-made designer gold and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and free zakat calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
Africa Muslims Agency invites you to visit us at our new office space on 31 West Street, Houghton Estate, Johannesburg. The new AMA office will provide a space to connect, share, volunteer, and donate in the heart of the community. Find out more about how you can make an impact with your zakah this Ramadan. Office hours are 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. daily. Call us on 0100 722 262. Africa Muslims Agency, empowering, educating, inspiring.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042-203-1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
Conveniently located along the banks of the Crocodile River bordering the Kruger National Park. As a guest at Buckler's Africa Lodge, one can enjoy an amazing sunrise or sunset on our spacious deck area while you catch a glimpse of some wildlife sightings along the Crocodile River. The sounds of the African savannah will greet you whilst you enjoy your morning coffee. Buckler's Africa Lodge by Tingana Collection. Buckler's Africa Lodge is ideally situated only 6 kilometers from the Crocodile Bridge Gate in the Kruger National Park. Catering for all travelers with variety, we have 4 types of the finest rooms: superior rooms, deluxe suites, and 2-bedroomed family units. Each room is equipped with the finest amenities to make your stay unforgettable. Guests can choose between the self-catering option or book their accommodation with breakfast and dinner included. Buckler's Africa Lodge is your ideal location for the ultimate Kruger getaway experience. We specialize in exhilarating and educational game drives in Kruger, tailor-made to suit your family. Inquire about our various accommodation offerings and other activities. Visit www.tingana.co.za for more information. Buckler's Africa Lodge by Tingana Collection. Experience the pulse of Africa with us.
Salam Media, your spiritual
Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and welcome back to this very special Ramadan programming. We seem to have had some technical issues in the first bit. We're now moving over to an interview with Debbie Stoddard, who is the founder and coordinator of Uddin Burma, which is a Southeast Asian network supporting human rights and democracy in Burma. Hi, Debbie, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Shabnam. Thanks for having me.
Let's kick off with an update for the listeners on the situation in Myanmar.
Okay, we've just completed 2 years of an ongoing military coup. Most activists would call this an ongoing attempted coup because the military junta, the illegal military junta, has not been able to gain control of the country. It is estimated that they have only stable, continuous control of only 17% of the territory of the country. And the other areas are mostly dominated by ethnic resistance organizations, ethnic armed organizations that may or may not be aligned with the junta, and people's defense forces. So what we've seen in the first 2 years of the coup is around 21,000 armed clashes, including attacks on civilians. That's very high. That's actually higher than Syria at this time. What we found is that as the military junta loses the war on the ground, they have been relying increasingly on airstrikes. We looked at the ACLED database. ACLED is a database that tracks conflicts around the world. And during the 5 months between October 2022 and February 2023, so 5 months, Burma, the military junta, launched 226 airstrikes and drone strikes in the country. 226 airstrikes compares with Ukraine. Everyone knows what's going on in Ukraine. Well, Ukraine had only 121 airstrikes, so nearly half of
That's
the
shocking.
airstrikes that was launched by the military junta. And when we break that down, we found that there were 34 airstrikes that targeted civilians. And that is a figure, yeah, it's 34 airstrikes. But actually, when you compare it with other conflicts around the world, between October and February, the illegal junta had launched the highest number of airstrikes on civilians in the world. So if we want to look at the figures, there were 34 airstrikes launched on civilians by the illegal junta in Burma or Myanmar. But the second lowest number was 8 in Yemen and 6 in Ethiopia. 34 and then 8 and 6. That's the top 3 number of airstrikes against civilians in the world during those 5 months. I think what is really quite horrifying is that, yes, the Rohingya was subjected to genocidal violence in 2016, 2017. There was a genocide. But what has happened since then is that this ongoing violence and the coup has really put Rohingya people in Burma, Myanmar at greater risk. And UNHCR, the UN High Commission for Refugees, reported that in 2022, nearly 3,500 refugees, mostly Rohingya, tried to flee by sea from Bangladesh and Burma. This is a big number, but it's more horrifying when you realize that this is a 400% increase on the number of people who tried to flee by sea in 2021. And last year was the deadliest year for Rohingya who died or were lost at sea. So I think we need to understand that while the situation of the Rohingya has been very bad, has been critical since the genocidal violence, it's gotten worse. And it's sending the message to Rohingya that the hope of going home in safety and dignity is decreasing with every day of this coup. And so more and more people are feeling the pressure to try to flee by sea, whether they're in Bangladesh or in Burma.
Debbie, all of this heavy weaponry is coming from somewhere, right? And presumably that's the international community. So, in all of this, since the coup, what has the international community's role been?
Well, it's been very mixed, Shabnam. Some governments have been fairly good and consistent, and some others haven't. For instance, the European Union finally last year imposed sanctions on Myanmar oil and gas enterprise, which is one of the biggest foreign exchange revenue earners for this illegal junta. But yet the US, who has traditionally been so-called a champion of human rights and democracy in Burma, has still refused to sanction MOGE. When we look at those airstrike numbers, as those airstrike numbers tell us that a sanction on aviation fuel is critical in the country. This is the country which is launching the highest number of airstrikes on civilians in the world. And yet, only Canada and the UK have imposed sanctions on aviation fuel. So I think we need to have a little bit of an understanding that while everyone's eyes is on the Ukraine or other equally important and critical wars and conflicts, the Burma situation is actually just as urgent. At the end of January, there were 31,400 conflict-related deaths in the country since the coup started. That's in the 2 years. And at the same time, Ukraine had slightly less than that number. So there has to be, yes, Ukraine was invaded by Russia. And yes, that's quite a war of aggression. But the impact on the ground in Burma is similar, and it requires at least more attention than it's getting. A few months ago, finally, the UN Security Council passed the first resolution ever on Burma, calling for an end to the violence. However, Russia and China, who are both weapons suppliers and who also have veto power, blocked adoption of enforcement measures on the junta. So basically, that resolution in the UN Security Council is one only on paper, when what we really need is an embargo on arms, again, going to the junta, an embargo on not just arms, but even computer software and hardware that's being used to crack down on the local population. Around 20,000 people have been detained, and 4,683 have already been sentenced to jail for small things like a Facebook posting or sending a text message.
Okay, that is really, thank you for that update, because especially around, when we think about active wars and the way the media has been portraying them, unfortunately, Burma's never there. But when you
And it's
look at
one of
these
the,
figures,
yeah.
it's shocking because these are the highest figures. The next thing I wanted to ask you was the impact of the National Unity Government and the People's Defense Forces in Myanmar. What can you say to us about that?
Well, the National Unity Government is essentially the legal government of the country, because it is made up of elected members of parliament who were prevented from forming government. And it is in partnership with ethnic nationalities. They have done a better job than the junta of making commitments to human rights and to political reforms. And the PDF, the People's Defense Forces, are spontaneously emerging groups from the ground. A lot of them were people who opposed the coup, and then when they found themselves being killed or being under attack by the military for peaceful protest, many of them started to take up weapons, especially when it became clear that the international community was not going to take strong measures to ensure civilian protection. So basically, we have hundreds of PDFs, People's Defense Forces, aligning themselves also with ethnic resistance organizations. These are ethnic groups that have been fighting the military for many decades. And that's why the military junta is losing the war on the ground. And their only superiority they have is by launching artillery shelling on populations as well as airstrikes. And these are airstrikes that are quite horrific. Towards the end of last year, there was a helicopter attack, shooting of a school, and they could see school children running away, and their children were being shot down.
Shocking.
Previously, also late last year, there was an airstrike on a cultural festival. There were famous ethnic Kachin singers. So I think, it's quite horrifying to see what's going on in the country, but it's also kind of inspiring to see so many people actively resisting against this illegal junta. And the least that we can do, especially during this holy month, is not just to think of them and pray for them, but also raise awareness in our communities and in our countries and ask our governments, hey, what are you doing for the people of Burma?
Yeah, thank you so much. Really, that is so important, and that's the thing. If the governments are not going to take a stance, then they need all of us to push them to do that. So, thank you so much for coming on the show on the special Ramadan program, and we look forward to speaking to you again. With that, we're going to go through to another ad break.
Thank
Your family the best with Sunfoil because tradition just tastes better.
Online schooling? Why not? Kurtuba Online Academy is the leading global online Islamic school from grade R to matric, offering South African caps and international syllabus. And it doesn't stop there. We also offer online madrasa for every grade. For more information, visit www.kurtubaonline.co.za. Kurtuba Online Academy, the leading global online Islamic school.
SANZAF extends warm wishes to you and your family during the sacred month and would also like to thank you for your continued support. Allow us to distribute your zakah, sadaqah, and lila for you this Ramadan by donating online at sanzaf.org.za or call us on 011 834 6046. SANZAF, changing lives through development and relief.
Salam Media, your spiritual companion this Ramadan.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to this very special Ramadan programming. We managed to get Uddin back with us, and he's going to be telling us what he's been talking to us about Artolution, which is an art project that has been running in Cox's Bazar. Uddin, can you hear me?
Yes, please, I'm hearing you. Yes.
All right, perfect. So what we were speaking about is if you could tell us more about the projects Artolution is running. I understand there was a COVID project and an education project.
Yeah, thank you very much. Because of the internet, there's some sort of unstable situations. So basically, as I mentioned, like Artolution is a community-based art network. So we have 40 community artist teams inside the world's largest refugee camp. So we have 20 female lead artists and also 20 male lead artists. So basically, we call them the community teaching artists. It does mean they are the artists from the community, and they are not only the teaching art, or they are not only making art, also they are teaching different kind of methodology, and also they're exchanging what they have with the with the people, with the community members. So since 2017, we have developed of, more than 240 community murals and around the camps, and now we can see like we have done some of the very big murals. The murals is all about the community perceptions and community artisan, how community are thinking about that. So it's not only just drawing, and the project itself is there's a community approach, and in every level our community teaching artists, they try to ensure the community participations. So even during the time of COVID, we didn't stop to one single, I mean, in any single day for making art. So our artists are making art in during the time of the COVID. So during the time of COVID, even that kind of crisis situations, we felt that there's a lot of different kind of tags and a lot of awareness messages, which is the community people, not everyone are able to read, not everyone are able to understand. So some of our community lead artists, so they develop a community mural on community space. And especially if we talk about some of the mural at Kutupalong and some of the mural at Balukhali, so basically they depicted their own idea through their own process, through their own artisan, and also in a stall at community. And so that community people really understood really what exactly needed. If somebody say, okay, keep maintain the distance, but the text is not clear. But when community, especially when we are talking about our Rohingya artists, when they depict it and they develop their own idea with the community members and make a one giant murals on the particular space, and then people, I mean, crossing by, they understand, yes, masks, wearing the masks is needed, and keep maintain the distance is needed. So there's a lot of public health messages our community artists develop with the community. So during the time of COVID crisis, our community artists played very outstanding role, because the national staff were not able to visit or disseminate the message regularly, but the community artists, they take the roles. So that's why we call, they're the people who are agent of social change, and they're the leaders, and they're the people who develop their own idea. So that's how we developed more than 15 giant community murals, where we call world within a world. So it does mean, and from the outside, if anyone see, like, it's really one images and one mural, but inside there's a thousands image which is drawn by the community members. So it's really work, and especially any kind of crisis, the community people, they're the first frontliner, and they're the people who are taking the responsibility to share the messages, to help the messages to their own community members, and we have done really outstanding job. Thank you.
Okay. I've seen some of the pictures. In fact, we've used one, Protect the Rohingya used one this year on their Ramadan message. It's really beautiful. And when you walk, in the camp, it really adds color, because it's a dull landscape. Can you tell us a little bit about how Ramadan is being experienced in the camp by the members of the art team?
Yeah, thank you very much. Basically, as we try to maintain the community cultural sensibility, I mean, especially during the time of Ramadan. So we have, from our from the organization perspective, we have provided the the Ramadan iftar to our artists, and especially some of the community members. So, but our artists, they don't stop the work, because this is something which is, they are making peace through their own artwork, and they're disseminating their own cultural and religious and faith messages through their own artistic way. And we can give some sort of example, like the previous year and also this year, they're making some sort of peacemaking stories, and that story really encourage the people not to do the bad work, and encourage the people to make the bridge in between one to another, and also encourage the people to spread the peace and also spread happiness with others. So during the time of Ramadan, and it's as always is, in the community members, they're the practitioners, and they're practicing their own faith, own religious belief, and it's.
Okay, well, we seem to have lost Uddin again, but we're going to
what they're
try to
doing.
get him back. Let's see.
Thank you.
Okay, you can hear us again. The last question we have, sorry, the network has been shaky. The last question we have is, how can all the listeners support Artolution in the camp, and where can they see the art online?
Yeah, thank you very much. So basically, any kind of contribution from the top level, we can see it makes really big a difference in the ground. So, I mean, the community people are supporting the Artolution artwork and the community artworks. So anyway, so we have our Artolution website. So if anyone want to donate, anyone want directly can donate to the Artolutions. And also here we have a community artist. If anyone wanted to communicate and wanted to provide anything else, and they can directly can communicate, and also they can do that, because we feel that this is community leadership and this is community artists. They are the community people and they're taking the leadership and they're making art through their own process. So there's a lot of way to support. I'm virtually can support, in person can support, anyone can support through providing the art materials. It's all about their work. So this is completely community approach. So I think any kind of contributions, any kind of support, it's especially this kind of context is very needed when people doesn't have anything to do and they're traumatized, and they don't know exactly how they're sharing their inner feeling to others. So that's how really arts really work. So support your community peoples and support the artists.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for coming on the show today and for sharing this with us. What a wonderful, different project. Yeah, we're so excited to hear all about this. And listeners, you heard it straight from the country director for Artolution. You can support them on their website. You can speak to the artists directly. So let's go out there and speak to them. And Suza, thank you very much for joining us on the show. And with that, we're going to go to one more recording from the camp and to the rest of our interviews. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
This is Roy Yasin Abdulmunaf. I am a Rohingya refugee and living now in the world largest refugee camp. So now this is the month of Holy Ramadan. So there are 1 million Rohingya refugees who are surviving here. So all of the refugees are observing the fast since 24 March. So now it is the third day of the Ramadan here in the refugee camp. So in fact, there are so many refugees who are not, getting enough food and ration to observe the fast. Anyhow, they are just trying their best to observe the fast with the ration they get from WFP. So these people don't have any income of source, so they don't have any income, so they don't make any money to buy, delicious and good foods for observing the fast. So this is a very difficult situation for the refugees to observe the fast with the limited ration. So they don't have any extra food. They don't have any extra money to buy, some good meat, fish, and vegetable to observe the fast. So far, I know I have been going all the camp every day. So I see many people are without food, without proper water, without curry. So it seems that these people need a strong support from international community to get the proper ration, to get the food for Ramadan, such as meat, beef, chickpeas, puff rice, and dates, and so many things to have in for the iftari and for observing the fast. I humbly requesting to international community to support to the refugees to help them get the ration and the food for Ramadan, especially for Ramadan, so they can enjoy their Ramadans very well. Thank you very much.
Salam Media, your spiritual companion this Ramadan.
The Turkey-Syria earthquake is among the deadliest earthquakes of the last century. Thousands have lost their lives, and large areas in cities and towns in southern Turkey and northern Syria have turned to rubble, leaving huge numbers of residents with very little or nothing at all. Al-Imdad Foundation's emergency relief team is on the ground providing life-saving aid. The people of Turkey and Syria desperately need your support. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
Located along the banks of the Crocodile River bordering the Kruger National Park. As a guest at Buckler's Africa Lodge, one can enjoy an amazing sunrise or sunset on our spacious deck area while you catch a glimpse of some wildlife sightings along the Crocodile River. The sound of the African savannah will greet you whilst you enjoy your morning coffee. Buckler's Africa Lodge by Tingana Collection. Buckler's Africa Lodge is ideally situated only 6 kilometers from the Crocodile Bridge Gate in the Kruger National Park. Catering for all travelers with variety, we have 4 types of the finest rooms: superior rooms, deluxe suites, and 2-bedroom family units. Each room is equipped with the finest amenities to make your stay unforgettable. Guests can choose between the self-catering option or book their accommodation with breakfast and dinner included. Buckler's Africa Lodge is your ideal location for the ultimate Kruger getaway experience. We specialize in exhilarating and educational game drives in Kruger, tailor-made to suit your family. Inquire about our various accommodation offerings and other activities. Visit www.tingana.co.za for more information. Buckler's Africa Lodge by Tingana Collection. Experience the pulse of Africa with us.
For a long time, we've lived in a centralized world where institutions held the all-important data and confirmed all transactions. Those times are over. Welcome to Libertas Group, a blockchain development company boasting an ecosystem that continually redefines the way we do business. Our blockchain is decentralized, making it immune to hacking or alteration, putting the power back in your hands with no middleman so you can focus on the growth of your business. Libertas, the simplest investment choice you'll make.
Salam Media, your spiritual companion this Ramadan.
Assalamu alaikum. You're back with us on the Special Ramadan Rohingya programming. You were listening to a voice note by Yasin Abdulmanab, and he is a journalist and a social activist in Cox's Bazar. Right now, we're going to turn to Dr. Ambia. We're always happy to have Dr. Ambia join us on the show. She's the chairperson of the European Rohingya Council and the co-founder of the Rohingya Medics Association. She's also herself a mental health doctor as well as a pediatrician. Dr. Ambia, Ramadan Mubarak and welcome to the show.
Ramadan Mubarak, Assalamu alaikum, and to the Salam Media, thank you so much, and Shabnam, for your continuous contribution and raising the voices and giving us an honor to speak up for ourselves. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much for being on the show. And since we're here and it's Ramadan, let's speak a little bit about the result of the food ration cuts that recently happened. What are the consequences of these ration cuts in the camp?
This question has been raised before earlier also by the other social medias, and there was also a very huge concern after the reduction of the voucher in the refugee camps with the World Food Program. As you know, that the Rohingyas, they have almost nothing, they're just surviving there with little bit open air, but on the other side with a zero basic human rights, and then reducing their food, reducing their other facilities, or not providing them to any access to anything, it makes their life more horrible. And these are the people who needs more social economical support, plus to maintain their resilience, and then one day so that they can go back. There are almost 65% of the Rohingyas living in the refugee camps in Cox's Bazar are the ones, women and the children. They become more vulnerable because they are the children and the women, and these are the ones who have really suffered and paid the most from 2017 till today. Our young generation, they have been exposed to many stress factors and traumas, and these are the children who have been chronically ill, and even we have women who are pregnant and also chronically ill, and they moved to Bangladesh with the hope, and they were already having malnutrition was already existing among them. So such kind of steps will harm them medically and mentally. So there is a high risk of malnutrition to be increased under the 5 years age of children, and the anemic patients or anemic Rohingyas, whether you call them adults or children or women. And also, when you don't get a proper, these are the ones who are under daily stress factors, and when you don't get enough food and enough social economical support, they will become more traumatized. Their health issues will deteriorate more. There will be a lot of complications with the pregnancies. They will be exposed to every infection because the immunity will be low. And the ones who are suffering from the chronic diseases like hepatitis C, hepatitis B, and the asthma, and the diabetes, and the blood pressure, and other issues will not be they will not be able to maintain or sustain it. And the children, if they don't get a proper nutrition from their childhood, they can never develop a normal, healthy human being, and they will be deprived from the normal growth. And plus, these children who will be deprived normally, they will develop also mentally and physically abnormal. So in all our issues, it is very important that these vulnerable people are taken care of very well. And if they cannot, if they cannot give them the enough, at least they should not deteriorate their mental and the medical issues.
Okay. Dr. Ambia, you're a Rohingya, you're part of these organizations on the ground, you have family on the ground in Cox's Bazar, you're aware of the situation in Myanmar. What does Ramadan mean for Rohingya?
Okay. Shabnam, religions have played a vital role in the Rohingya community, and you can see why the Rohingya became today the people of genocide, because of our religious belief in Islam. So we were targeted among the other ethnic minorities, and today we became the people of genocide because not of our physical looks, but also mainly because of our belief. Religion has always been a part of us. Though we suffered, but we never betrayed Allah, we never betrayed Islam. No matter how much pain, how much atrocities we went, how many obstacles we have been facing, religion played a vital role. And Ramadan, we forget, when the Ramadan starts, we forget the pain that we went through, the pain that we are going to come through. We have another mood, like in all the Muslim countries. People have a different mood, people have a different atmosphere. Their life is a bit better than the Rohingyas living in the camps or in Myanmar. But we forget, when the Ramadan comes, we forget, and we try to live and spiritually and also mentally to the outmost, because we know that praying and sacrificing for Allah, sacrificing for our religion, we will be blessed. The mercy will be blessed on us. So we forgive, we forget, we donate, we do sadaqah. At the same time, we feel not having enough food, not having the enough rights, not being with your loved ones, and not celebrating, not fulfilled enough nutrition to your children. But despite of all these things, we celebrate and we try our maximum to follow the Ramadan till the end, with a small amount of food, with dates, with water, and other stuffs. So what I'm trying to say, the religion is played a vital role in our community, and Ramadan was always a special and will always remain the special. You will see even the people, they forget, they forget that whatever they are going through when the Ramadan comes, they are delighted. You can see on the social media how the youth, the generations, the old generation, they all are celebrating this holy month.
Dr. Ambia, while we are speaking about Ramadan and faith, can you tell us, as a psychiatrist, how does faith assist in the healing of trauma?
Okay, Shabnam, there are a lot of studies are going through, and it's been still going on. It says that the faith, that the spirituality has always helped the people to maintain their hope, and then to rebuild resilience, and then we recover. Also we recover, we forget the negative thoughts. The hope is there through the religious through the religion and believing in Allah, praying to Allah. We've been blessed, others have been blessed. So in the healing, the faith has played a vital role for us, for others. And this we believe, we truly believe, the Rohingyas truly believe that whatever we are going through, it's by Allah, and inshallah today or tomorrow He will answer to our patience and we will get the justice.
And Dr. Ambia, the last question that I have for you today is, what do the Rohingya need from the international community? What is it that all of us can do?
Okay, Shabnam, these questions we have been talking on and off, and I think, if you just go back a little bit, why the Ukrainian and the Russian war has progressed when it comes to the justice, whereas the other communities like Palestinians, like the Kashmiris, like the Rohingyas, and from among all of that, we all went through the pain. But the Rohingyas are the people who are going through the genocide. In 2017, when a huge number of Rohingyas landed up in Bangladesh, Bangladesh was not ready, neither the world was ready. So whatever we did, we just did it, and we tried to help themselves in a very superficial level. Nobody thought of helping them for a long term. What will be the consequences if we do this and if we don't do this? And all this because nobody understood the root cause of the Rohingyas. And you can see the situation has been deteriorating despite of, in every social media, in every summit, Rohingyas, or in every UN sessions, Rohingya topic is always been in the one of the today on the first place or the last, but it was always there. Despite of all these awareness and campaign from the international community, from the Rohingyas, from the victims, from the survivors, the situation is deteriorating because Bangladesh does not have a clear stand for the Rohingyas. Bangladesh does not know what they really want, how they want to do it, and Bangladesh will never ever fight against their neighbors. The neighbors that mean that if the history is there, Bangladesh never fought against Myanmar. Bangladesh never stood against like China and India. Their interest is to maintain them. And so on the other side also, the international community, they are engaged, but to also very superficial level, and they are talking about jurisdiction. They are working on the jurisdiction. They are giving us the social economical, but on the very superficial level. Whereas we all know, it is because we don't know what is Rohingya really needs. For example, you just have seen there is a talks of on and off of the repatriation. How come this kind of repatriation talks are coming without the involvement of the Rohingyas? And when in 2018 the MOU, Memorandum of Understanding between the Myanmar and the Bangladesh occurred, no Rohingyas were involved. Same thing, when anything comes up, they are sending us to Bashan Shah. They are trying to give us the repatriation. But nobody is, jurisdiction will come, social economical help will come. One must not forget, Rohingyas will be given the justice if only and only they get the political rights in their country, in their motherland. We were deprived from every basic human rights. Today we became the people of genocide just because we were deprived from the political rights. Second thing is that Bangladesh should be very clear with its stance, what they want. They cannot just put asking for the funds, donations. International community also cannot work on the superficial level. It has been already 5-6 years. What are the basic things? Okay, you cannot move. The stand of the ASEAN, it's very weak. The stand of the international community also every time diverted. When the COVID comes, they forget the Rohingyas. When the Ukrainian-Russian war comes, they forget the Rohingyas. When the Israeli issues comes, they forget the Rohingyas. Everyone should be given the equal interest and equal justice. And for us, education is the main tool till we get our justice, till we get the political rights, till the Myanmar come to a complete democratic country. For that time being, Rohingya should be protected, not only in Myanmar, but it also comes to Bangladesh. It is an obligation for the Bangladesh to protect these vulnerable people, which is not being done neither in our country nor in Bangladesh. So it is very important that the international community not only showing the gratitude to the Bangladesh, but also saying that, hey, your steps are wrong, and the international community should involve Rohingyas from the refugee camps.
Thank you. Dr. Ambia, thank you so much for joining us on the special Ramadan programming. We wish you all the best for the rest of Ramadan, and as well as your team and your family. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Okay, so listeners, now we're going to go to our final interview, and we're going to be speaking to Khin. Khin is no stranger to Salam Media. He's the president of the Burmese Rohingya organization in UK, but he's also the complainant in the case brought before the Argentinian court on behalf of the Rohingya. Khin, assalamu alaikum, and welcome to the show.
Assalamu alaikum, sister. Wa alaikum assalam. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. You recently returned from Bangladesh. Can you tell us a little bit about the situation in Bangladesh and what you witnessed?
One thing is very clear that, Shabnam, is very depressing situation. I couldn't go to the camp, but as far as I heard through some people, the situation, what we can see on the ground is really disappointing and not improving, and situation in, cutting off the ration and gangs are operating, trafficking are increasing. So unfortunately, the genocide survivors are not getting an important chance to rebuild their life. Instead, our community is destroying day by day. This is really, we are very tragic situation, I should say, because 40% are children. What will be the future for these 40% future children of Rohingya? Who will lead the community in after 10, 15 years? What will be their future? How the community will look like if these children cannot go to the university and school? So,
and
this is what I have seen.
And Khin, we're running out of time, but can you please just give us an update on the case at the moment and where the case is?
You mean Argentina case or all the cases?
All of them, if you can, please.
So one thing is ICJ, as far as I know, the Gambia filed the case. We thanks to the Gambia government filing the case on behalf of the Rohingya genocide case in International Court of Justice at The Hague. This case, April 24, as far as I know, that the Burmese junta will submit counter memorial, then there will be a bit delay because of Counter Memorial and other dates. So we are on the right way, but it's going to be delayed a bit because of COVID and because of some technical problem of what Burmese are counterproductive, counter submitting the memorial. I think we will know the verdict in 1.5 years sometime around. ICC case, International Criminal Court case, is really moving forward. As far as I know, they are collecting the evidence. IIM is working very hardly, to get the evidence, and they have evidence also. And Facebook is cooperating with them. That is good news. So we hope that this case is moving forward. And our Argentina case, one thing is, I have already testified in 2021 December. Now we're waiting to bring genocide survivors from Buenos Aires from Cox's Bazar to Buenos Aires, Argentina. When they testify from a universal jurisdiction case, that will be another step to release arrest warrant. That will be a big blow for the military junta.
That's amazing.
These are moving forward.
Thank you so much. Tinkin, thank you for your time and for the updates. We wish you Ramadan Mubarak, and thank you for joining us on the show today.
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry because of connection.
It's fine. Well, listeners, we've come to the end of our special Ramadan Rohingya show. There have been some technical difficulties today, and we apologize for that. We want to say thank you to Zahra on Twitter and Abdusalam and Ponti in the studio today. Also, we support Colors of Hope, a small organization with a very big heart, and their Rice for Rohingya project, as well as their Rohingya Iftar project. So if you're South African and you want to support local, please do go have a look at their website. Thank you to all the guests that came on today to share their insights with us. And that's me, Shabnam Mayet, signing off on this very special Ramadan program. Ramadan Kareem, Ramadan Mubarak. We wish the best to all of you, and we hope that you remember all of us, especially the Rohingya, in your prayers this Ramadan. And remember, it's 30 days where we can show solidarity. So let's not let that go to waste. Assalamu alaikum.